Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 12 of our F1 2010 career mode. Yes, we return this weekend out for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a couple of days ago from the Hockenheimring, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. It's safe to say, after the first few races of kind of trying to find our sea legs underneath us, things are going pretty well so far this campaign. If we take a quick look at the Drivers' World Championship...
Colin Colles dropped off a contract earlier.
Yep, he did that last episode. I know Colin Colles still wants us, but ideally, if I can move elsewhere, then I'm probably going to try to at the moment. Taking a look, though, at the World Championship, just 1 point now in it between Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel up at the top of the table. The German bagging his third race victory last weekend to mean that, well, it's going to be a battle probably down, between the two drivers that dominated the 2010s in the sport. Jenson Button up to P3 then ahead of Fernando Alonso and Nico Rosberg. We are currently in 9th place there, sorry, 10th place even I should say, tied with Timo Glock, which is absolutely critical in the battle between Virgin and HRT as well. Further down the order, I believe the best performing Caterham driver at the moment is Heikki Kovalainen. Bizarrely, Caterham are the worst performing of the new teams. They're also the only one where both of their drivers have scored, though. Still, we are just waiting on Bruno Senna and Lucas de Grassi to get a point on the board. Constructors-wise, though, it is still McLaren at the top of the table there as well. 27 points clear of Red Bull, as Ferrari have had a bit of a torrid time in the last few Grand Prix. We are P6, like I said, tied with Virgin, 3 points ahead of BMW Sauber, but with the likes of Renault and Williams still behind us as well. There is an almighty battle raging on for 6th place in the Constructors' Championship, with just Lotus and Toro Rosso seemingly a bit disconnected from the rest of the pack. A massive thank you to everybody for their continued support on this series. Quickly as well, I just want to say an extra thank you, because the channel is now officially monetized on YouTube as well. So yeah, thank you to everybody for watching and enjoying so far. There is going to be plenty more to come. So without further ado, let's head then here to the Hungarian Grand Prix. Well, heading out then into qualifying here from the Hungarian. Did a bit of practice, made sure we got on yet another upgrade on the car, which is meant to provide us with 5% more rear downforce as well. No idea what's going on with the background down in towards turn 1. I don't know if it's kind of a PC issue, maybe an issue with kind of this version of the game as well. But yeah, there's a few weird artifacts off in the distance. Not that that should affect too many things as we head into qualifying there, as Rubens Barrichello kind of letting me out the way and then decided he's going to get back in my way once again. Hopefully I'm not going to have too many issues trying to squabble with him over the course of this session as well. That's certainly the more exploratory line out through the exit of turn 4 there, but obviously always a little bit difficult to try and get a real idea as to what everybody's pace is looking like. But I think once again we should hopefully make Q2. We might be in the fight for a top 10, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. It does make me laugh as well, because it feels like this version of Hungaroring is pretty much still the same as the one we get on the modern games as well. Of course, I know there's a few tweaks and changes, but yeah, this Formula 1 layout just does not change, does it? It's at the final corner! That's not ideal out of the final turn. We go P3, slower than Alguersuari. That probably won't be enough to get us into Q2. Sometimes I'd rather we get knocked straight down into the drop zone rather than trying to risk it, trying to make it into Q2. But yeah, Sebastian Vettel has done a 122.5 then. Like I said, we've definitely got the speed to get through into Q2. We're still only about 0.6 of a second off our teammate, despite the fact we literally had a crash coming out of the final corner. So yeah, it looks like this time around we got open road in front of us, so we can actually go out and try and enjoy ourselves on our qualifying lap this time, rather than worrying about what some of the AI are doing. I think slowly but surely, though, as this car has got better, it feels like the meta is more shifted to running the low aero config, obviously on the MFD. I'm still running absolutely maxed out wing around this circuit. It is the Hungaroring after all, but it seems to provide us with a good little balance. I have to second down then by the time we get to the end of Sector 2. So maybe struggling for consistency a little bit more than I thought we would be here. I think we're still up on our teammate though, so hopefully, even if this isn't the best lap in the world, it's still going to see us through and into Q2. Just got to be careful of that final corner, but so much more enjoyable with this more agile car as well. As we go P13, it's not fantastic, but it should be enough. Well, there we go then. Sebastian Vettel once again flexing his muscles. Really does seem to be confident with that Red Bull at the moment. Just ahead of his teammate. And then both Ferraris, both McLarens, both Mercedes and both Renaults inside your top 10 coming into Q1. We make it through. So though does Bruno Senna and Jarno Trulli. So if you're a Williams, if you're a BMW Sauber or a Toro Rosso at the moment, there's going to be some real questions raised. Pedro de la Rosa on the back row of the grid. It honestly does seem like the three new teams are actually kind of doing quite well. Well, always got to remember that I top up the fuel then as we head back out ready for Q2. But Jarno Trulli then going to give me a nice slipstream up over the start-finish line. So maybe, you know, starting to band together with some of the teams that we kind of viewed as our early season rival. But maybe it's the Hungaroring as well, because obviously this place is such high downforce. Maybe it is just kind of the fierce development race as well of these backmarker teams. But yeah, the fact that, you know, A, we're not way off the pace, B, we're kind of starting to see, you know, even our teammate making it into Q2 a bit more reliably is a really, really good omen. But yeah, need to try and make sure I get a good hooked up run in Q2, as I'm still not getting turn 4 right. Definitely trying to attack that with kind of modern levels of F1 downforce. It is still fairly weird to kind of try and readjust. Annoyingly then, Jarno Trulli and I still kind of tripping over each other on this first run. Bruno Senna, that will not be enough to see him through into Q3. 127.2 for our teammate, 123.5 for us. No idea where that came from. The lap didn't feel great, but clearly the time tells a different story. Well, there we are then. Pretty much everybody inside your top 10, exactly the same as they were in Q1. Apart from me, that lap, like I said, I got no idea how we ended up getting as hooked up as we did, but clearly very, very happy with the time to see us into Q3. And I believe that means Jenson Button has not made the cut there. P12 for the McLaren man, who, well, after starting the season so well with his new team, really does seem to be lacking some pace and performance more recently. Bruno Senna did outqualify Jarno Trulli. Again, the game does kind of make up lap times for the AI, because Jarno was running way faster than that when we were battling with him, but anything higher than 10th, I'm taking as a win. What on earth is this out of the final corner? Everybody having a tea party as we're all trying to get out onto our first run then, but I mean, AI ghosting around is a rather weird thing to see, but at least Felipe Massa isn't a ghost then. Is that Hamilton? Where's Lewis Hamilton just appeared from? Maybe if the AI are going to trip over each other then, that would be rather useful for us, but yeah, we'll try and slide our way down the middle of a couple of those guys, and well, like I said, I don't think this first run, is going to be the best one there. As where does Lewis find that grip? Just teleporting around the outside, but as long as we're ahead of that group, by the time we head in towards Sector 2, hopefully we can try and stay there, keeping it pretty much clean and tidy. You get away with that back in 2010, so yeah, let's just try and make sure we absolutely nail this lap time. Like I said, where these cars are so much lighter. Oh no, it is so much more fun kind of throwing them around the place. Although again, having to try and absolutely match the brakes so the cars don't spin out is still a little bit scary. I'm going to let all these guys get away. I just want some clear air to get some runs in. As why is every single car covered by about 3 corners? Well, I'd understand much more if this was qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix, but Hungary is a track where you want to try to avoid the dirty air of the car in front of you. I mean, apparently I've gone quicker than Webber. I don't really know how, but Sebastian Vettel then, a 122.2. That is the benchmark up at the front of the order there. Late grab of second gear through turn 1. So we'll try and make sure that we don't get any wheel spin on the exit. Bring the car all the way up into 6th gear before we're on the anchors once again, just for the 50 meter board. Then maybe a little bit too early that time around though as we plunge down the hill. Of course, turn 3 still easy flat, but has definitely been reprofiled in more recent years there as down 1 gear through turn 4. And again, that was pretty nice and tidy, 4/10 up through that first sector there. That outside curb does kind of hug you into the circuit, just kind of drag the nose around there as well. Get up on that first sausage curb. Try to avoid doing the same through the second one, though. In through the S's. Rev the nuts off the car. There you can hear the V8 screaming as we just try and use the engine brake to our advantage. Final part, though, of the S's. Oh, again, we run a little bit wide, but we might just get away with that. 10 seconds up now by the time we get to the end of Sector 2. But I still need to find a bit more there, as we are apparently 3 seconds off the pace of Sebastian Vettel, as most of the AI peeling back into the pit lane. I believe it's only a few of us that are still trying to improve on our runs. 22-2 for Seb. We're barely at that by the time we get out the final corner. 24-3, 24-4 even. Slowest at the moment. I've got time for one more run. There we go. A little bit further up on the board there. 1/10 quicker. I mean, it's a 10th up rather than a 10th down. That's exactly what we need to find. And if we can be a bit braver through this middle sector as well, just brake a little bit later, carry a bit more speed through the corners, we might just be able to find a little bit more as well. Using 4th gear that time around rather than 3rd, just to see if we can still keep the speed, keep the rotation in the car without having to use as much of the engine brake. Very, very wide in the exit. 6 cents up, though, as we head down in towards the final couple of corners. Don't brake too early, don't brake too late. Just get the car absolutely planted through there. As, again, just struggling with the understeer. Definitely still have not quite got a car that can fight for race victories reliably or anything like that. So I just got up on the inside curb at the final corner. We still find another 7/10. We go 4th with that lap. Vettel has cooked everybody. Well, there we are then. Sebastian Vettel, he is dominating this weekend here at the Hungarian. Half a second up on Fernando Alonso come the end of qualifying. Felipe Massa and Nico Rosberg, though, up in P3 and P4. We will join Lewis Hamilton then on the 3rd row of the grid, as very, very quickly it looks like his championship aspirations are beginning to go downhill. Robert Kubica, Vitaly Petrov and Michael Schumacher then rounding out your top 10 for qualifying. Can we stay here, though, for the 2nd weekend in a row and try and score even more points?
Okay, you're doing really well so far. Try to keep up this level of performance for the rest of the season.
Well, I'd love to try and keep up this level of performance. 5 red lights are on. It's the lights out, and away we go then for the Hungarian Grand Prix. A little bit of wheel spin in the 2nd phase. We just cannot match the AI off the starts on the run in towards turn 1. But we will have that inside line there, so hopefully we can try and make up a little bit back. I feel like someone either crashed into the back of me or went into the back of the car behind me there down in towards turn 1. Looks like Bruno Senna, though, on the mini-map, has had a brilliant getaway as well there, as everybody just trying to nestle their way through these first couple of corners. Super important that you get up to speed, you build up some confidence nice and early on in this race. I think, yeah, Bruno, he's up to about 13th spot here. Still would love to see him score a point if he possibly can this season. Yeah, Vitaly Petrov there, not looking particularly confident through turn 4, as immediately we have found ourselves in a bit of a Renault sandwich. Robert Kubica, trying to have a look somewhere for a move, but you cannot use the inside curve through the exit of the chicane there. Otherwise, he just always tries to tip the back end around. Luckily, able to kind of snap the car back in line pretty quickly. So heavy with fuel there. That was not the line we needed. Kubica has definitely done a little bit of damage to his front wing. So that was obviously who made contact then on the opening, at the start of the race. But yeah, as we come towards the end then of the opening lap, I mean, you can still see the AI using their teleport effect to full use there. Robert Kubica flying towards that final corner, but we are still in the points for now. I mean, that's ridiculous. What on earth is that? What's he doing? Michael Schumacher, I mean, he just teleported around the outside, and then just, I mean, we had a little bit of contact on the way out, as I tried to give him a squeeze, but that was utterly insane there. It looks like Heikki Kovalainen then, the next car just behind, but yeah, your big teams are absolutely going to fly away from us, aren't they, at the moment? Don't feel like I'm driving that badly. I mean, that last lap was a 23.4, but yeah, the AI are flying along. We've got to try and keep Kovalainen at bay, however. No, here comes Heikki. I'm going to try and just sit the car in the middle of the road a little bit on the way down the front straight, just to make him think twice about trying to go for that move. You can see on the exit at turn 1, He's still got so much straight line speed. He's actually opted to start on the prime tyre, so I mean, tyre wear is going to be, well, super high anyway around this venue. So a huge snap of oversteer on the exit of the corner. But yeah, you can already see those tyre wear warning lights. They're getting to flash up there. Somehow we didn't take Heikki Kovalainen out early on in this race. But yeah, we are definitely struggling very early on. I want to try and get to lap 8 if I possibly can before we make the switch. But unless Kovalainen was doing a 2-stop, I think it's going to be very, very difficult because, of course, he'll probably just overcut me. There you go. Adrian Sutil says thank you very much. And, I mean, already his tyres look to be much, much better than mine. Whoa! Sutil, though, breaks way, way early than I was expecting down at turn 2. But he does make a hash of it on the exit of the corner. Is he going to have the pace to get away, though? I think he will. So, yeah, with Antonio Liuzzi now as well, just behind. I think a lot of your back market teams maybe had a bit of speed early on. Maybe over 1 lap, but ultimately, you know, your Force Indias, your Renaults, all your big teams as well, they are just still able to drive away as we settle down into the race. I've got to kind of hope for some reliability issues today for others, or maybe a pile-up of some sort. Oh, there you go. Sutil, is he going to find a way through? Sorry, Liuzzi even, isn't it? It's now going to try and squeeze by. Oh, that's not where I want to be there. Round the outside. Into that chicane was never going to work, and well, Sutil's already gone. Now so will Liuzzi. I guess it's horrible to poor Heikki Kovalainen that was hoping he could find a way through, but it is much, much easier to defend from him than it is one of those Force Indias. Oh no, what is that? What is that? Kovalainen absolutely sells me around the outside. Oh, in towards those final couple of corners. Someone's dived into the pit lane. No, a couple of cars actually heading into the pit lane. So who is that then that's made a very early call? So here comes our teammate Bruno Senna. That is one of the McLarens, I believe. That must be Hamilton. Because Button, I believe, is still behind us. Trapped in this gaggle. But if some of the AI are 2-stopping, or maybe even 3-stopping, we are going to be pretty dead set on a 1-stop today. So maybe that's a way back in. Not with lines like that, it's not, though. Lucky not to completely damage the car on the wall, as Glock will make it through, Hulkenberg will make it through. And that basically means now Timo Glock will somehow score a point today, and nobody will have any idea how he does it. There we are then, Jenson Button in P17 at the moment. He is having a torrid day out of the races so far. I mean, he's probably one of the least competitive cars in a straight line by the time we get back in towards turn 1. Normally, people are able to at least put alongside us, but not that time round. As we're going to peel into the pit lane then at the end of this lap, move over to a set of the prime tyres, and hopefully we'll get them all the way to the end. As we look at that warning, they are really beginning to struggle. Prime tyres selected, please, as I probably shouldn't do that going into a fast corner. Oh, look at that Button as well. After I accidentally gave him a bit more of a squeeze than I'd intended, he finally decides he's going to get on with it. Oh, no. Whoa, Kobayashi! Ugh! I've accidentally crashed into someone. I don't know who that was. I mean, we just got auto-span, and I think the back end took Kobayashi out. Someone else then got in the way, and, well, unfortunately for them, I believe they are out of it. There we go. Make sure we get it done at the very last moment there. Limiter going on. As everybody else then is going to crawl by us, but hopefully we can try and get the car slowed down nice and tidy. God, team flying along there. Look at that, the pit lane animation. Hilariously quick that time round. There we go. Heading back out onto the circuit. Luckily no penalties. But yeah, with Sebastian Buemi then unfortunately wrapped up in that chaos. I do apologise to him and what has been a pretty torrid year so far for him and Toro Rosso. Oh no, what's happened to Bruno Senna? Bruno Senna suddenly dropping way down the order, so no idea. Ah, teammates out of it. I thought I heard that someone had a puncture on the radio, but I didn't know if it was him or not. So that's a big frustration then for Bruno Senna. But at least it means I'm going to outfinish him. I'm not going to outscore him, probably. But I'm going to need a much bigger miracle if I'm going to bag points today. There's a wheel. There's just someone's wheel gone. So, I mean, I don't know if that's Bruno's or whether that's someone else's. But there you go. We've gained another spot back. Like I said, I guess as long as we finish top 18, make sure we get that race objective. There's not really a lot else I can do. Oh, no, Kobayashi. Come on, Kobayashi's probably going to have me. I think it must have been Lucas de Grassi's wheel then that was gone in this race. Am I going to be able to try and send it on Kobayashi? No, I'm not. And, well, by half distance then, we are already down to the back of the pack. Yeah, just one of those days. I mean, the AI, like I said, we've said it so many times, haven't we? So good in qualifying. So good in races, so bad in qualifying for the most part. So, Kobayashi now seems to have ran away. If I remember correctly, you guys said to me going into this series that they're pretty much as good here as they are at Spain. These are probably two of their, like, most OP tracks. So, yeah, a bit of a shame for us. But ultimately, you kind of got to deal with the rough with the smooth. The most frustrating part would have been great to see where Bruno Senna could have ended up today. Because the car itself actually seemed to have some pretty good pace. But it would make a lot more sense then why my hate for Barcelona and the Hungaroring is so strong in F1 games. If this was my first ever experience with them back as a 10-year-old, it just genuinely, it's been quite fascinating so far to kind of work out why some tracks I just hate with a passion and other tracks I quite enjoy. I mean, this is probably one of the last ones I really wasn't that looking forward to in this series. We've got a good string of tracks coming up. Obviously, Spa up next after the summer break. Monza, Singapore, I believe, as well, of course. Before then, we've got South Korea, Suzuka, Brazil, and then the season finale, I believe, out in Abu Dhabi. Don't believe I'm forgetting anything there, but yeah, at the moment, though, we're just losing bags of time to everybody around me. There's a fair chance I think we're going to go a lap down today. But as we get to half distance, I'm kind of just hoping a few more people retire, so at least I can get my race objective. Eh? The team who just told me Lucas de Grasse is going to be peeling into the pit lane, but he's out. I mean, maybe Timo Glock's diving in, but I'm sure he's running up in about 3rd place by now. But yeah, Rosberg, though, leading the way. I think what's more annoying is the fact that, actually, when I look at the gaps, I think it was Pedro de la Rosa that was just ahead of me. He was actually going quicker than Rosberg for quite a few laps here. So the AI kind of run away from you, and then are quite happy just to settle in with each other. I mean, Rosberg, though, winning a 3rd race of the season would be huge for him and Mercedes after what has been a terrible time in the last few Grand Prix. Could they challenge Ferrari in their return year to the sport? Well, as drives in the Hungarian countryside go, this one has probably been one of the lonelier ones and more disappointing ones I think I've ever done as well. But what is it with the Hungaroring and being AIOP on the F1 games? A question for anybody that has the standard version of this game. Those Martini logos on the exit of the final corner, are they there in, like, the normal game? Is that something that, obviously, kind of in this version that's slightly modified? Is that something that they've put in? Because I would be staggered on a PEGI 3 game if they've just got blatantly some Martini sponsors inside the title. I mean, surely that's a bit questionable. I understand you could normally get away with not putting, like, the red stripes. For example, when they sponsored Williams back in, like, 2016 and stuff. Obviously, in-game, it would just be, like, the light and dark blue. But, yeah, very weird. So if anybody knows, let me know down in the comments. But a handful of laps from home, then, I think Rosberg is probably just about... Well, I think we could hold him up if I needed to. But, yeah, I'll probably end up getting lapped just to save a little bit of mileage on the car. Plus, well, actually, I guess back at Malaysia, it was worth doing the final lap. Maybe I've got to try and stay ahead of him, just in case anybody blows up on the final tour. But I guess there's a little bit of solace for us as well, isn't there, in this race, knowing that no matter what I had done, you know, had we tried to do the strategy a little bit differently, anything like that, there was still no chance we were going to score points. I mean, the really annoying bit is our consistency has actually been very good today. We've been running pretty reliably mid to low 23s, so we've had decent speed. It's just nowhere near as good as the AI are. Only in races. Rosberg, though, will put us 1 lap down. I believe we are 4 laps then away from home. So, yeah, let's just still make sure we get to the flag. Keep up my 100% reliability record. Here we go. We've got another one then trying to find their way through. Is that Sebastian Vettel? Yes, it is. So, yeah, German 1-2 then at this stage of the race. But with how much Seb dominated qualifying, quite a surprise that anybody not only has been able to stay near him, but has actually been able to get the better of him over the course of this race. I believe he is still closing in on Rosberg once again, but I guess that's kind of similar to what we would see from Red Bull in 2010 as well. I mean, they had so many pole positions that year. The championships have never gone down to the wire like it did. So there you go. Fernando Alonso, one of those men that did bring it down to the wire, will make their way through. It was just a combination of bad reliability and, let's be honest as well, Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber not being as good as Hamilton and Alonso that year. That kind of meant that we ended up with our four-way iconic scrap that we did. Oh, no, 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 no. One lap from home. Oh, that's so frustrating. More annoyingly as well, Renault seemed to be having... Oh, no! I better not completely destroy the car on this final lap. I'm getting the car to the checkered flag. As who's that now? That's Michael Schumacher then, finding his way through as well then. So, yeah, where is Hamilton in this race? He must have had an absolute stinker as well then. And Sebastian Vettel... Well, we already know he's going to take the lead of the World Championship. But yeah, Hamilton has pretty much led it, you know, for a very, very long time now. Just through sheer consistency in that McLaren car. But for Nico Rosberg, though, as well, a huge, huge return to where Mercedes were going to be this season. Of course, one of the Ferraris of Fernando Alonso still doing pretty well here. But yeah, this final lap is definitely not quite going the way I wanted it to. I mean, up to that point, like I said, I feel like we had driven fairly consistently, you know, but just ultimately have had no pace against the AI. This is more the speed like I feel like I've been driving to kind of make it make sense that the AI are that much faster than us around this venue. But like I said, we've got a few venues that I'm really looking forward to in Spa and Monza coming up next. Of course, the original version of Singapore as well is going to be really, really good fun. And obviously South Korea alongside Suzuka as well. You've just got to get through the difficult races. You know, sometimes got to take the rough with the smooth. And hopefully if we get a more competitive car, then we're going to be able to try and fight, at least with some of the guys a little bit further up the order. Robert Kubica's going to find his way around us as well then. So, yeah, by the end of the race, it's pretty disappointing. Through the final corner, though, it is going to be P21 and last here at the Hungaroring. But I did get to the flag.
A slightly disappointing result, but at least we got to the end. Well done.
Well, there we go then, our engineer as well, with a similar sentiment to myself. At least we did get all the way to the checkered flag there. Nico Rosberg, though, claims the victory, 4 seconds clear of Sebastian Vettel. Fernando Alonso in third, ahead of Mark Webber and Felipe Massa, with Petrov, Schumacher, Robert Kubica, Adrian Sutil and Viantonio Liuzzi all inside your points. So Button ended up finishing 11th. Hamilton all the way down in P13. So he had an absolute stinker come the end of the afternoon as well. Jaime Alguersuari just ahead of Heikki Kovalainen. Doesn't really look like any of the back markers had some great outright pace today as well. Although, to be fair, Heikki did beat both BMW Saubers. So it seems like, yeah, BMW Sauber and Toro Rosso have really kind of fallen into the clutches of the backmarker teams. Rubens Barrichello all the way down in P19 ahead of Jarno Trulli. And then it was Lucas Di Grassi, Bruno Senna and Sebastian Buemi that failed to see the checkered flag. Championship-wise then, Sebastian Vettel, maybe for the first time this season, up to that top stop. Hamilton still in P2 ahead of Nico Rosberg. Fernando Alonso back down to 4th, still ahead of JB. Webber now just 1 point ahead of Felipe Massa, with Michael Schumacher still in a rather distant P8. We are still 10th overall though, but of course, yeah, quite a few guys behind closing in quite rapidly with some big results this weekend. Constructors-wise, though, as well, annoyingly, there we go, Renault have jumped us potentially for good this season, but a huge weekend for Red Bull, who overhauled McLaren at the top of the table as well, and now hold a 3-point lead. Mercedes, 23 points back from Ferrari. That is definitely still going to be a battle to watch out for as well. But yeah, luckily for us, we are still ahead of Virgin and BMW Sauber. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon out at the Belgian Grand Prix.